introduce you to the incredible people who made the movie that you just saw. And so, to start, I'd like to bring out the cast, starting with Kathryn Hahn. Janelle Monáe. So I'm freaking out because I'm a huge fan of everyone who is on this stage individually, but then you all came together and you made the murder mystery of all murder mysteries on a private Greek island. And so first of all, thank you for doing that, because I feel like we need a movie like this right now. But I want to start with you, Rian, because it says this is a Rian Johnson whodunit. And this has been birthed from your brain, and so I'd like to start by asking, where did you start?
Well, I start by thanking you for doing this, by the way, Julie, and thank you guys for being here so much. We almost didn't want to say it because we didn't want to jinx it, but we were both like, God, if people like this, it might be really nice to keep the party going, to keep making them, and so... So it wasn't even like a question, and when the first one did well, it was kind of, we just kind of naturally transitioned into, okay, when are we making the next one? And the idea was always to do it kind of, to kind of look for inspiration to kind of the source of Agatha Christie's novels, which is what I grew up loving. And in that, I mean, like, I think there's a misperception sometimes that Christie kind of did the same book over and over, and anyone who actually is a fan of Christie knows the opposite is true. She was wildly shaking it up every single time, and she took wild swings, and not just the location and the method of murder, but the types of plots, the subgenres she pulled in, the themes. She was really, you could see with each book why she was excited about making it and had its own identity. And the notion of doing that with these movies, I think, was kind of the exciting part.
What I love about Agatha Christie is a book like Endless Night is totally different than Roger Ackroyd, and what I love about this movie is I spent the whole beginning time trying to outsmart the question of who did it, and then as soon as they sit down at the dinner party and then Benoit gets up there and goes, I just solved it, I thought, oh shit, now we're in for a ride. Was that something that you discovered while you were writing it, or was that part of the building of the structure of the screenplay from the get-go?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like sort of the starting point for these movies, for me, for the first one too, is because I have this similar experience. I'm the biggest whodunit fan in the world, and I think that the trying to solve it thing, part of your brain, that can be entertaining for me for about 20 minutes or so, and then at some point you're just leaning back waiting for the detective to give you the answer, unless what I think the trick is, and I think all the great whodunits do this, there has to be an engine at the heart of it that makes you lean forward as opposed to leaning back. They have to be roller coasters, not crossword puzzles. And the trick is to hopefully, what you're trying to do is have the audience be having so much fun they forget they're supposed to be solving something. And then it's a pleasant surprise at the end when you realize there is all this stuff woven into it that ties up. That's kind of the pleasure of it, I guess.
And so you were talking about how you had just kind of started basically thinking about the second one. I want to bring you, Ram, into it because I know your partnership with Rian has been quite a while now, since Brick in 2005. How would you describe your partnership, the company that you guys started together, and how you work together?
First of all, I'll say maybe Rian thought about it when he was doing the movie. I thought about it before we made the first one. This could be...
You're a producer.
Our relationship, I think, it's really trust. It's all about trust. I think each one of us knows we want to make the best movie, and I'm here to support him, to help him, make the best movie that's possible. That's basically it.
When did you shoot it?
Shot it in June, July, August last year.
Something that I was thinking about while watching the movie is Helen's clue grid, and I just kept thinking about this incredible cast and how much logistical gymnastics must have gone into bringing everyone together. Was it easy? Was it hard? What was it like trying to...
Well, I do actually want to, I know, ever since I said that joke, I've been feeling bad. I want to thank you guys for being here. It's so lovely that you're here. We've gotten so used to being around each other and just making mean jokes all the time, and I realized, wait a minute, that's you guys are so wonderful for being here. Thank you. And for being in Greece and making the movie with us. It was, I look down the line here, and I still cannot believe that we got the amazing group of people we did. And there's an element of casting these movies that, in addition to just trying to get fantastic actors, it's also a bit like throwing a dinner party, because you know you're going to be on location and very tight-knit for a long while, but also because these movies are true ensembles, and you want people who are going to get along and have a good time. I think if you're having a good time making the movie, it's genuinely reflected, and so you do have to enforce a little bit of a stricter no jerk policy, and to be able to get actors just of this caliber who are also, all of them, just lovely human beings who we all just had the time of our lives making this thing. Which I know is the thing you say at things like this, but it was genuinely true. I hope it oozes off of the screen while you're watching it. We really had a great time.
Nodding along.
Let me underline that. I've literally never sacrificed less for a movie.
I can tell this group really loves each other. Edward, your character is, I think you can recognize a lot of real-life billionaires. I was hoping there was going to be a foil surfing scene with maybe too much sunscreen on your face. What was your take when you first were introduced to the character?
I dropped the script laughing quite a few times, not because of Miles, but just the whole, you know, when Blanc runs the table and says it was Birdie, I had to stop for about 15 minutes because I was laughing so hard. It's just the construction of it, the brilliance of the way it circles around itself, and once again comes up with a great metaphor. Last time the donut in the hole, and this time the glass onion. It's just, you know. You can tell Ryan is not casual about this, if that wasn't already evident. It was, we'd all been in our pajamas for a year and a half, and getting this invitation was like these. I had the same reaction Kate's character has when she gets the invite from Miles. It was about that physical, but it was the easiest summer theater troupe to sign up for.
So were there show tunes?
Yes. Oh, was that for me? No,
I'll take it for anyone who will say yes to that.
Yes.
We had a green room, you know. We had a green room. Like, you don't have green rooms on movies. Like, we had a. It was like theater camp. It was like theater camp.
It was, and since this is a lot of producers, it was theater camp, and Ram was our counselor. And it was like, Ram, please, we just want to go to dinner. You know, and I was like, no. Where? You know, because we couldn't get COVID. He ran a tight ship, guys. But it was really, I mean, it truly was fun, and I have to say, we did discover that Daniel doesn't like jazz in the green room, which was an interesting discovery. It was we were like, Daniel Craig doesn't like jazz. Interesting.
What do you do with that information once you learn it?
You say it in front of a theater full of people. But you wait till he's not here.
Since he's not here, I think we also learned that Daniel's probably much more like Blanc than Bond.
I would agree.
Did he wear wear a
Debate
neckerchief.
me. Daniel wears a neck scarf like few people can, and by choice. So, yeah.
He wears it well.
If I could rock it. And we would, when we were, because we did the first half of the shoot in Greece and the second half in Belgrade. And in Belgrade, it was in the middle of the Delta surge, and so the numbers were terrible. And so we wanted to keep everyone safe. So we were all very much in a bubble in this really nice hotel. And on the weekends, we would rent out the bar on the roof. And to blow off steam, we would all get together and do murder mystery parties. We would play Mafia together. We'd get very, very drunk and play Mafia together. And we would have dance parties. And at the end of one of the evenings, I think, Kate, you were wheeling Kathryn around on a dessert tray, I think.
And you know what? Dale just sent me all the footage from this.
Oh, that
And so last night I watched, and I realized how drunk we actually were. When I rewatched it, I was like, wow, we were having a ball. You know, it was like when you're in it, then you see it, and you're like, oh, that's interesting.
I think it should be said, though, that this was probably the best course of action in Belgrade, even if there isn't COVID.
I love Belgrade. I stick up for Belgrade. I love it.
Ram, how was that for you?
You know what? It was the best that I could do. All of them being in a bubble. It was good for me.
As long as it's contained and they're having fun, the boxes are checked and everyone is happy. How did that feeling carry over once you guys were all on set together?
You know, I being new to this, to having never worked with T Street before, I still am, and I've said it to I remember saying it to my hubby, which is husband, please excuse me for saying it. It's late, no, but I remember saying to him how moved I was by Ram and Ryan's, well, he just said trust, but by that, by their collaboration and the length of it says something in the Ram's being able to hold Ryan's everything. It makes everything possible. Like Ram's stealth, freaking holding it all together is something that is like I've never seen it before. And like we were able to just do all of it, and just to know that there was this presence that just so calm, just behind like what he was saying, this like surge that was happening. We were out of the country. There was like all this we just got it done. Not one case with all of us. And we were able to do it and have so much fun and get really hard work done. I mean, I'm blown away by this partnership, and anyway, so that's it. Scene!
Also, the loyalty of everybody that works with you guys, you know, I think you see that we all felt it coming in. We're the newbies. Yeah. You know, everyone that you bring to this movie has been a part of your journey together. You know, both you, Brian, Ram, and you know, it's like, I mean, I grew up in this business, but that says so much about how you run your company and what kind of leaders you are, and the joy that everybody has to come to work, the excitement to know what you're going to bring to your next film. It's palpable. You can feel it when you're you know, and when you're a newbie. It's cool. It's pretty cool.
What was your first meeting like?
Yeah, I'm so curious.
Me and Ram?
Yeah, we'll go down memory lane.
Yeah, it was at Mel's Diner, and I was
romantic.
I was trying to get it kind of was. I was trying to get my first movie made, which I had at that point been trying and failing for about 8 years to get my first film made, and I'd heard legends of Ram Bergman, and we sat down and met. And Ram likes to take his time. He really likes to get to know somebody before he jumps in with them. So over the course of a year, we would keep meeting every few months, and usually at Mel's Diner. And because Ram eats like a finicky 7-year-old. He eats French fries and dry burgers.
What's the order?
He eats chicken fingers. He eats gummy bears. He claims to have never tasted fish. He has never tasted fish in his life, he says, or chocolate. He claims he has never tasted chocolate. is a very, it contains multitudes. Kathryn's losing her shit
Work
back there.
husbands. Work husbands over there.
This is what it takes to produce at the highest level. We are all going to take your diet now and try to instill some of these values
It's
in
all that
ourselves.
fish that takes you down. Right? That's right.
Simplicity.
When you guys read the script, I'm so curious, how much did you know going into it, and how much was discovery? Like, did you keep secrets, or was it all there on the page?
It was there for me. I think, like, I can probably speak for all of us. It was a yes before we even read the script. I mean, looking at the work that, you know, Ram and you have done, Ryan, over the years. I came in on Looper, and that film just blew me away. And I went down this whole rabbit hole. I was like, I have to watch Brick, I have to watch everything, I have to watch everything. If I ever get an opportunity to work with them, with Ryan, you know, I'm saying yes. I don't care if it's a 2-second Corolla commercial. It's a yes. And then reading the script, I was just blown away. The character, you know, that I had the honor of playing is a dream role. I got to really play. I got to really go to new places as an actor. And to have your trust, you know, to have your trust, you guys' trust is no small thing, and to be able to have these guys as scene partners, like, this is a dream. So I'm super thankful and so great to see you guys tonight.
Well, I wanted to say it's a dream role, but it's actually the absolute freak out when I realized.
Oh, and can I say real quick,
Yes.
and I know we've all just seen the movie, but just, and I know we're all cool, we're all good. If anybody is filming this part where we talk about this aspect of it, please don't post or share it. I think this aspect of kind of Janelle's role is, I know it's annoying, but it is a really fun thing to discover the first time when you see it. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
It was family. It was family. I can feel it.
We're family in the room, and this doesn't go on the internet.
And Ram will find you and kill you.
He will feed you a fish.
Sleep with the fishes, yeah.
Something that I'm really looking forward to is rewatching the movie, and I think a big part of that is to see. Is there anything we should look out for on the second or third viewing?
I'll tell you, like, I've seen this film 4 times, and we watched it last night with our families, and I was discovering stuff. I was like, what? I didn't know that. He put his hand right there. That was the gun. Oh my God. You know, and I think that's just the beauty, and he's so shy about it, but the brilliance of Rian Johnson. You know, when you watch this film a second time, third time, you're gonna pick up clues that were in your face all along. It was Agatha all along. It's that level, you know?
Ryan, something I admire about the way Ryan approaches the mechanism of the puzzle is that he really leans on everybody. He really leans on this idea of playing fair, and that once something's revealed, if you go back and watch it, it has to actually be there. So, which is terrific, because in a lot of ways, as you work your way through the puzzle and you're doing things out of sequence, and you're having to do that mental math of tracking what are we doing here and how does it connect to moments later and everything. He's actually really insistent on things like you can't have it disappear later, and then in the moment you have to know where it happened, and in the moment that it happened, it has to actually happen. And I'm pretty proud of the picking.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Although when you watch it and you look for it, you can. And again, Ram's doing this right now. As we're saying this, but when you watch it and look for it, it is right.
It's right
there.
Yeah,
I mean,
right
Kate's
there.
kind of doing a little flourish with her dress in front of you.
David Blaine in. He helped us. With no, I'm just kidding. But the idea that you're committed to a different level of pleasure being delivered on second viewing because the things are actually there. All the clues, all the things that are asserted later can be found on rewatch. It's a pretty neat commitment to the idea that it won't just have worked off screen. It will be there if you go back and look for it. I think that's pretty neat.
I guess a question. Can I ask a question now that I think about? I'll be quick. I know you guys are just tired and dying to get away from us. But Ryan, how did you work backwards, like in terms of making sure the clues were there? How was there like a mapping? Like, okay, we have to get a shot. Like, how did you put your mind? What came first?
Yeah, I read it the same way I wrote all my other things, which is I do spend the first 90% of the process outlining, and so I don't necessarily start at the end and work back, but I need to be able to draw a roadmap of the entire thing before I sit down and start typing. So I map it out really specifically. Honestly, though, I mean, the seeding clues and doing the mystery, it's work, but the harder part is making it a movie that works and finding and having a character at the center that you are going to be invested in and care about, and finding those ways, like I said at the beginning, to make it a ride for the audience, which is the same challenge in any genre. And the murder mystery, I think that's the trick of it, is remembering that that's still what you have to be focused on.
And you know, I think a big component of this, which is the ride, is discovering it as you go. And so, Kathryn, I wanted to ask you, being part of WandaVision, Agatha, now this, there have been a lot of secrets in your life recently. Are there any tips you can give the audience on how to keep these secrets so that other people will enjoy them?
You're asking Kathryn Hahn how to keep a secret?
I was gonna say, like, anything for the lower GI. No, but my definitely has been difficult, but I've learned. It's been good. I have learned. It's actually easier than I thought. At first, I thought it was going to be a nightmare, and then it has become easier and easier. And because you know what, there are such few good surprises. Why? Come on. It's why ruin it, right? And so just to echo what Rian was saying, let's not. Let's keep it. Let's let people experience this for the first time, really and truly in an audience. Because it's so fun.
And it's a rarity.
It is. It really is. And it's such a
world
blast.
Today. So will you tell me about the third movie?
Yeah, what do you want to know? No, I haven't written it yet. We're putting this one out, and we'll see, and then hopefully, but the next thing I'm going to start working on, I'm going to sit down and start figuring out ideas for how to,
and how to put us all in it, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're going to get plastic surgery.
Exactly.
Audition.
A lot of fake mustaches. But I mean, what's genuinely exciting and challenging to me is to keep it going in terms of the third one being totally different from both this one and the last one, seeing if we can really give audiences something they don't expect again. That's a fun challenge.
Animated musical in space.
We'll see, man. It's time to take this franchise to space.
No, I was just going to say, I think you can tell we had. There's a lot of lightness in the film. There's a lot of lightness of spirit and lightness of touch. It makes the comedy levitate. I think a lot of that is possible because Ryan's so meticulous in his crafting that by the time you get there, he's able to be this incredibly relaxed director with actors, and the actors get to work in an environment of relaxation. But you know, this is the Producers Guild. I'm a proud member of the Producers Guild. I've produced some films. I think it is really worth saying. I think Rian can work the way that Rian works and have the relaxation Rian works because of the way Ram runs these productions. And I'm going to say this. I've done this, you know, I think I've been in like almost 50 films now. And I've produced a bunch, I've directed a few. But I've come to really think there's actually two types of producers. And it's not, let's put away producers who are just bad producers who aren't actually doing the job, which we know there's lots of. But even among producers who are doing the job, I think there's actually two categories. One category is the producer who's kind of like Dustin Hoffman in Wag the Dog. He handles it, or she handles it, but they want the credit, right? And what that means is they go to the director and they say, we're having this problem, but I sorted it out, I solved it for you. And as a director, that doesn't help, because in your brain, now you know there was a problem, and it's in the brain. The best kind of producer is the producer who stands outside the door with a machine gun and doesn't let the problem come inside. The director never knows it happened. And that's what Ram does for Rian. Like, Rian has no idea what goes on. And that's so true. Rian, I've literally never seen, I've rarely seen a director get less bothered by what's actually going on than Rian, because of the way Ram runs these productions. It's really, really impressive how much he keeps it at bay. And it trickled down for all of us into like an exceptionally wonderful experience.
I
Well
paid him a
said.
lot of money to say that.
Well, I think we're gonna all have a lot of takeaways on your diet, on holding a machine gun outside the door while we're filming. But as a final question, because we're in a room full of producers, and producers love nothing more than making cool shit happen and creating holy shit moments, I feel like with this movie, there has to be some of those moments. And so I just wanted to pose it to the group. If there's ever a moment where you pinched yourself and said, I can't believe we're doing this.
Now. Whole time, yeah. I mean, this whole experience, you know. I mean, we were in Greece with, I mean, everybody that we were working with was someone that I admire so much. And we're in the most beautiful setting with people who are the best of the best. You can't ask for anything more as an experience as an actor. And like Edward just said, with someone like Ram, that no stress ever got into the center of what it was we were creating, even though I knew deep down that Ram was feeling a lot of stress. But I think that for me, the whole experience was a pinch me. It really was.
I think the first time that we all walked up and saw the house was the largest private villa at the Amman Resort in Greece, and I think the first time we walked up and saw this thing, everybody kind of went, wow. Yeah, that'll work. Like, that'll be okay.
And then our first lunch.
Which of the 6 pools should we swim in during
That yogurt
lunch breaks?
Oh my god.
It was sort of like the it would have been in any year, it would have been one of the more exotic like and luxurious film locales, but after a year and a half of COVID lockdown, it really was like being sucked through some sort of vortex into the fantasy land.
Yeah, the villa had a chef, right? And I remember one day someone came up to me and said, "This is the chef if you'd like anything." And I was like, I have never been on a movie where that's ever happened.
I was like, is this always how it is with Netflix?
Yeah, Ram, that was a COVID necessity, right?
We just wanted to be nice and take good care of it. This is how we make movies.
Wanted to keep us there.
This is how we should all make movies. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making this movie.
Jillian.